If you want to create a private school, listen to today's Preschool All Stars story. Sherry Stavig struggled to find the right business that matched her business degree and entrepreneurial spirit. When she realized that she needed to stay home with her family, starting a preschool sounded perfect. After tweaking the model a bit to meet the needs of her community, she created a private school that taught 2-year-olds through grade 6. Listen in to discover how you can create a private school also.
Hello, and welcome to the Preschool All Stars podcast. I am your host, Bethany Johnson, and I am joined today by Sherry Stavig. How are you doing, Sherry?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're so happy to have you on, and I can't wait to hear your story. I always like to start with a little backstory. So tell us where you were before you opened this preschool, what was going on in your life, and why you decided that this is something you wanted to do.
Well, my husband and I got married in March of 2019. So right after we celebrated, well, right before I guess we celebrated our year anniversary, I found myself working a job that I wasn't very happy in, that took me away from my family. My husband was working in Oklahoma because we had bought a bakery and it didn't work out well. So he was down there working, trying to keep us afloat while we got the bakery. But anyway, so had 2 teenage kids at home. They were, I was working late into the evening a lot of times, and it was brought to my attention by my youngest daughter that the counselor at her school had asked her where her parents were because she had forgotten something for school. And she's like, well, neither one of my parents are around very much. Well, I'm stepmom. And I was responsible for everybody. So I felt bad. And I thought, well, really, neither one of us are around very much. Mm-hmm. So I talked to my husband and we decided that we would launch this business. And it's kind of taken on different forms since we started it. But that I would stay home, that I would, I wanted to do before and after school program for the kids where we live at. But then I realized there was a lot of time in between before and after school that I had to fill up because what was I going to do other than nap? So I decided to start a preschool. That's what I found Joy's information on Facebook, and I ordered the book, and it just kind of went from there. So
that's awesome. And what's your background in?
I have a bachelor's of science in business management and a master's in business law.
Oh, wow.
So totally not education related at all.
But business, you get the business side of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of input on the business side of things, but, we had a couple of different businesses between the time that we've been together, and none of them really panned out as well as we thought they would, or that we hoped. So this one was completely in our control, and I kind of took it by the bulls by the horn and just ran with it. And so far, so good. We've been very successful. So,
well, that's wonderful. What made you think of preschool?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. So I may not look it, but I'm approaching 50. And my husband and I have only been together 4 years. So we're a blended family, and I wanted to have another child.
Okay.
And my husband's like, why don't you just open a daycare? And I'm like, that, because he thought that was going to solve all the problems, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, I've done that before. It's not as long hours. It's day after day he's learning that quickly with the school. But, I'm like, I don't really know if my heart is in a daycare, because I want to have my personal family time too.
Right.
So, so I kind of, my business preschool model is probably a little different than everybody else's, because I have a very unique demographic here.
Where are you located?
I'm in Kansas.
Okay.
Wichita, so South Central Kansas. But it's a very different dynamic here. And so I have to really strategize what my business encompasses to try to fit the people that I'm trying to serve.
Sure,
So
sure. Well, I'm excited to hear about your business model. I saw it called it more of a micro school for
yeah.
different ages. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to hear about that. So how did you hear about Joy? You were just looking online for different ideas?
No, actually, I was just swiping through Facebook.
Okay.
I think Facebook hears what I'm thinking.
Oh, totally. It totally does.
Kind of like Amazon. But
Yeah.
so I was just scrolling through my Facebook feed one day and I came across it and I clicked on it and I thought, you know what? The book is free. I've got nothing to lose. So might as well go
Yep.
for it. And so I did.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And now you're up and running. So tell us a little bit about what you have going on. When did you start?
Okay. So my official open date was June 2nd.
Okay. And
I,
how long had you been planning it?
I started in March.
Okay.
So I worked for the school district too until COVID hit. And then, of course, the schools shut down. So I kind of started planning this about the first part of March.
Okay.
And that was kind of before schools shut down. So I was substituting at the school. And then I was studying with Joy when I wasn't working. Then school shut down over spring break, and that kind of freed up time there.
Yeah.
So I just, Joy was starting to launch her online preschool
Challenge. Yeah.
challenge. And so I thought, I need to do that because I have a feeling that this isn't going away anytime soon and we need to
Right.
be prepared for it. So
Yeah.
I started in March planning it. And then June 2nd was my first open date. And I
Okay.
started with an 8-week summer camp
Okay. That
program.
was the local or that was online?
Both.
Oh, both. Okay.
So I was doing a local in-person preschool camp. And then I had an online camp as well. Now they matched up with themes. So if I was doing an astronomy theme in person, I was doing the astronomy theme online as well. And then a lot of times I would combine the two, especially if we did a field trip to the space station, virtual field trip. And so I had both my online and my in-person students doing it at the same time.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, that way too, they actually got to see kids from other parts of the country as well.
Right. Right. So you have kids from all over the country in your online class?
I'm actually not doing online at the present moment.
Okay.
When my in-person location took off, I was beyond full. So I had to make a choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I chose to keep with my in-person and put my online on hold. So I'm actually planning to try to relaunch an online program here in the next month or so. I've got a mommy program I'm working on. So
nice. That'll be fun.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I'm also, of course, planning in-person spring break camps and
cool.
summer camps as well. So
nice. Okay. So let's shift to the in-person then. What is your schedule like and how do you do before and after as well? Or tell us about that.
So my schedule is hectic.
Yeah.
I call it organized chaos.
Yeah.
So my day starts at about 5:30.
Oh, wow.
6:00 a.m. So I do before and after school care as well.
Okay. For all ages?
For all ages. Well, 2 through, I think my oldest is 11 or 12 now. So because I have an early education program for my 2 and 3-year-olds. Then I have preschool for 3 and 4-year-olds, pre-K for 4 and 5-year-olds, and then kindergarten is ages 5 and 6. And then I have first through 6th grade as well. So
that's just for the before school, or that's your whole day? Okay, all day. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you're doing and how do you label it? Is it like a homeschool co-op? Are you licensed? How does it?
So I hold a daycare license as well as I'm registered with the Department of Education as a private school.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's how the only way I could figure out how to serve
For older
or
kids.
more people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because for those people who are getting assistance from the state because of COVID or whatever, you
Mm-hmm.
have to have a daycare license to help those people.
Right.
And because of the before and after school part, I didn't want there to be any question as to whether I was running a daycare or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I hold both.
Okay.
So I label it as a private micro school with a before and after school option. But I don't label it as a daycare because I don't want to be a daycare.
Right.
So I have to be real careful. But I
Mm-hmm.
market my program as a customizable plan for that fits the parent's needs. So a parent can come in and meet with me, and we will actually form a plan or a learning program for their situation and their child specifically.
Oh.
So, so instead of saying, well, I can't do one day a week, I can do one day a week and then I
Mm-hmm.
supplement at home the rest of the week. So I have a kindergartner who this is the only school she attends. She comes 3 days a week, all day. And then that gives her family time to have a 4 day weekend, basically
Right.
every week. It's what
Mm-hmm.
worked for them, whereas
Yeah.
they wouldn't be able to do that in a normal school setting.
Right. Right. Wow. Okay. So how many kids do you have per day around? And like how many hours? I guess you said the kindergartner comes all day. So there's a mix of ages all day. And
Right.
you're kind of working individually with each child or each age group, or how does it work?
I work in groups depending on age. So
Okay.
my 2 and 3 year olds that I have for my early education program, they have their time set aside that they are being taught specifically. And
Mm-hmm.
then I kind of rotate them.
Okay.
Then I would work with the 3s and 4s. So it just depends on what age group I have that day. My kindergartners, I have two. I tell the parents that we're more of a hybrid between a private school and a homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
So that allows them to kind of decide what curriculum they have a say so in the curriculum that the children are taught.
Okay.
So I do more Montessori if a parent doesn't have a preference, but if they do, then I work with them to make sure that requirement's being met.
Okay, cool. So if you're licensed as a private school, you don't have to do any sort of like testing or anything?
No,
And how
not
did you get licensed? Like, what did you have to do to go through to get licensed? Because I hadn't even thought about that. It sounds like
yeah.
it could be a
It's
big process.
Yeah. So, as are you speaking about the Department of Education?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So, the Department of Education is actually funny because the more I get to understand homeschooling, because I didn't homeschool my kids,
Mm-hmm.
the more I understand it, the more impressed I am with the whole concept of homeschooling. In the state of Kansas, it's a matter of going online to the Department of Education website and putting in your school's information,
Okay.
and that's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's very, very easy here. Um,
And then
and
you're registered as a private school? That's all you
yeah,
have to do? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. So I have a little piece of paper. Well, it's a couple pieces of paper actually that I've printed everything out. I have it on my bulletin board in my office to show that I'm registered at the Department of Education, and that's it.
Wow.
So, and for really up until 8th grade, there's no transcripts that have to be done. I keep a grade book, but if they were to enroll in a regular school, brick and mortar school, they don't require transcripts. All they require is a withdrawal slip from the school that they were registered with. So
Okay.
if a child comes here, they've been in public school, parents are like, I don't want to send my kids to school. I don't want them to wear masks all day, whatever. They have to actually withdraw from the school that they're in,
Right.
and then they enroll in my school.
Okay.
And then if they go back to public school, they would withdraw from my school and
Mm-hmm.
then enroll in the new school.
Okay.
So in Kansas, it's very very easy
Yeah.
to actually become a private school because we have
Yeah.
a huge homeschool community. So
Right, right. Yeah, my mom homeschooled all 6 of us kids for a while, and we had to go I don't think we had to take the standardized test, but we had to go to, like, an evaluator every year and, like, have a portfolio of, like, what we were learning, and that's all I remember about it. So it's interesting how the different, rules and requirements for each state. We were in Pennsylvania. But that's interesting that they have such a lax system with private schools and everything. But that's awesome for you. So how many kids are you licensed to have throughout the day? And does that fall over under your daycare license, or is that with the Department of Education, is there a certain amount of kids you're allowed to have with a space, kind of like the daycare license? You know what I mean?
yeah, with the Department of Education, there isn't.
Okay.
There isn't anything that says I could have 75 kids if I wanted.
Right.
I don't have room for 75 kids, obviously, but
Right.
that would be a whole new business model. Now, with having a group daycare license, because I have both of them at the same address,
Uh-huh.
all the kids fall under the daycare license.
Okay.
Majority of them are here all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a way to keep myself from getting, I don't want to say in trouble, but to keep
Keep
the
it
child
legit.
licensing people at bay,
Yeah.
that's how I've set it up so that I got everybody happy.
Right. And how
I
many
can't-
kids are allowed under that license?
14.
Oh, wow. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
For one
So,
person? Or is
for
there two
14
to
for 2.
for two? Okay.
So
Okay.
for one person, it's 10
Okay.
kids for one. And since I don't I don't take anyone under the age of 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And 'cause otherwise the numbers would change. And that's
Right.
how
Yeah.
I can maximize my profit that way.
Yeah. Absolutely. So how many do you have enrolled right now at one time?
I actually have like 20 kids enrolled, but they're not all here at the same time. So I
Mm-hmm.
average between 10 and 12
A day.
a day.
Cool. Wow. Okay. And do you have to do pickups and drop offs if you have it before and after school, or how does that work?
No, my before and after school is primarily for the district that I live in.
Okay.
I'm fortunate enough that the district buses, it seems like I'm too close to the school to be bused, but apparently not. So all of the schools they get 7 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 2 high schools in the district that I live in, and all of them pick up in my neighborhood.
Oh,
So
cool.
kids have a bus stop right down from me.
You just walk them
And
to the bus stop?
yeah,
Nice.
it's like 2 houses from me, so it's not very far to walk at all. And
Okay.
the younger students get to get outside.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you start, what did you say, at 5:30 or 6?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when does your last kid leave?
Typically about 5:30.
Wow. So you're still doing really long hours.
Well, it sounds like I am, but I have employees.
Okay.
So
Okay. That was my next question. Who do you have helping you here?
yeah, I've got employees. So a typical day for me is I'm up at 5:30, 6 o'clock. Of course, I do all the meals, so I do a majority of the cooking. But
And are you on a meal program like with the state since
yeah,
you're with the, okay, cool.
so I make breakfast. We do our morning stuff, and then I have my first employee. My first employee comes in about 10.
Okay.
So, and I have my husband here too. He helps a lot. And then typically by about 1 o'clock, after lunch is done and my preschoolers, they have quiet time.
Okay.
So they don't have to nap or anything like that. Although a lot of the younger early childhood kids, they
They
usually
do. Yeah.
sleep. So by about 1 o'clock, then pretty much my day is done.
Okay.
I've and then I'm usually taking a nap. But
Yeah. I would too after all
or,
that.
yeah, or I'm doing paperwork, or I'm making phone calls, or doing my marketing or whatever it is that I
Mm-hmm.
need to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
by about 1 o'clock, I'm done with the physical part of my day,
Okay.
and then my employees take over until the last kid leaves.
Okay. Cool. So do you use with Well, how much do you charge? Let's go there. How much do you charge is there different ages, different? Go ahead.
No, I'm pretty much a flat rate. So
Okay.
my tuition is 150 a week,
Okay.
per child. That, and I do factor in, that's everything. So
Meals and everything included.
meals, school supplies, they get, so I do teach some enrichment programs to them. But if there is an enrichment program that I do not offer at the school on a day-to-day basis, if I hold, so I do cooking classes, so if I hold a special cooking class for something outside of normal school hours, they get a discount on those. So
Okay.
that way it kind of adds that value to it. We do, Spanish, sign language, cooking, nutrition, personal finance, entrepreneurship, cursive writing for the older kids because they don't teach that in school anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm working on a gardening program and a yoga program that hopefully I'll be launching towards the summer. So
Wow.
I have all of that going on too, and I
Yeah.
write the curriculum for most of it.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's just blowing my mind. Blowing my mind, everything that you're offering.
I'm very busy.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's amazing though. And so like your first and second grade, you had said you had up to second grade? Is that what
I
you
have
had?
up, I have up to sixth grade
Oh,
currently.
up to sixth grade. Okay. And how often do they come? Do they come every day too?
The sixth grader, so I have a fifth grader that's all day every day, Monday through Friday. I
Okay.
have a sixth grader who's here 3 days a week,
Okay.
all day. And then, of course, I have a kindergartner here 3 days a week. I have a first grader. I have a couple of third graders that are here periodically.
Wow.
So
And
uh,
where is this all ran out of? Do you have a certain space in your house or is it your whole house, different rooms?
I
How's that
have,
set up?
so we renovated the basement,
Okay.
and I used to have 3 classrooms. Now
Okay.
I only have 2. And the reason why is because I took my kitchen out of the main, because I cook down there too. So I have a full kitchen.
Okay.
I moved it from the main classroom to one of the smaller classrooms and did a flip flop. So I have one large room that houses my school age students, and they also we eat all together our meals in there, and crafts and whatever we do in the big room. And then I have the little kids, I call them the little kids room, but is another room that has their hands-on activities and where they nap, and if they
Mm-hmm.
need quiet time or whatever, they've got their area. Then I have, of course, my laundry room is down there, my kitchen's down there, and then I have a bathroom that's designated for that. So
Wow. Sounds like quite the setup you have going on.
yeah, I keep thinking that one of these days I'm going to get brave and I'm just going to videotape it so everybody can see the space. And then I think,
I would love to see that. I think you should definitely do that and post it on the All Stars group because it
yeah,
sounds amazing.
well, if I ever get to the point where I stop moving things around, I probably will do that. But
Yeah.
as my students' age ranges have changed, the rooms have changed.
Mm-hmm.
So what they started out as last March when I started planning is not necessarily the way it is now.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the one thing that I have to say. I posted in the group the other day is that the one thing I've learned from 2020 and the pandemic and everything going on in our lives is that you've got to be flexible.
Oh, yeah.
You have to adapt to what your clients need because
Mm-hmm.
their needs are changing. And the one thing that, most of the parents I've talked to is like, we don't know what's going on. The
Mm-hmm.
schools aren't making decisions until the
Right.
last minute.
Right.
We've got to have something else to fall back on, or we need to have some consistency because, for almost a year now, none of us have had anything consistent.
Exactly.
It's been
Yeah.
crazy. So the way my initial plan was is not the way that it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean that next week it's not going to change again. So if
Right.
I ever get to the point where I'll stop moving rooms, my husband's like tired of moving cabinets.
I'm sure.
But if we ever get to that point, I will definitely take a video of it and post it so
Yeah.
people can
I
see
mean, you can always take a video now and then do another one later and be a
it.
transformation video.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of like the home makeover edition.
Yeah, totally.
Just keep well, and we renovated the basement for the school specifically.
Mhm.
Um, but it had this like domino effect because now we've remodeled the upstairs too.
Yeah.
The only room that hasn't been touched are the 2 bathrooms upstairs in our bedroom.
Yeah.
So, we did a makeover in my stepdaughter's bedroom while she was in Texas, and in, like, 2 or 3 days, we took everything out, redid the entire room, put new stuff back in, and it was like, we were just exhausted, so
Yeah. Okay, so
someday
you're
we'll be
tired
done.
of makeovers for right now.
Right? Someday we'll be done, so
Yeah. So how has the All Stars group helped you in this entire journey you've been on, which I totally get what you mean with adapting because I feel like we've all had to do that this year. Like I've been talking to so many ladies, interviewing them and hearing their story. And every single one of them is like, well, I had this plan and then I adapted it to this. And it's really interesting to see what everyone came up with and what, they did what they needed to do because yeah, all of our plans had changed, and that's just what happened. So how did the All Stars help you in that journey?
well, the one thing I can say is that it's been wonderful having a group of ladies who are either where I've been, are
Mm-hmm.
are where we both are at the current moment,
Mm-hmm.
or even those who are just starting out. Because I was reading, several posts the other day, and I thought to myself, it wasn't that long ago that I was where that person is now,
Exactly. Yeah.
and they have the same questions and the same fears, and they wonder, can I do this? And there's
Mm-hmm.
still days I wonder, can I do this today?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I've had an overwhelming amount of support. We had, COVID hit our house in November. My dad was dying.
Mm.
I had a lot of personal things going on too. Luckily, I had a wonderful staff. I have wonderful staff that works for me
Mhm.
that picked up. Where if there was just a day I just couldn't do
Yeah.
that day,
Yeah.
they stepped in and helped out. But the All Stars have been just a huge, overwhelming amount of support and encouragement, and I think that's what um, has really helped me get through the hurdles. And we've got some very intelligent women who come up with some great ideas that I never would have
Mhm.
thought of.
Yeah.
So that's been
Absolutely.
super helpful for me because I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could do that with shaving cream. That's cool. I mean, it, you
Yeah.
know, it's just one of
Yeah.
those things. It's like I don't. Sometimes I don't think in kid mode because I'm so
Mhm.
much of the business side of things that
Yeah.
I figure I leave the kid stuff to my husband because he's kind of a kid himself.
Big kid.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but but that's been really great that I've had other women who are trying to empower themselves and others to make their dream, whatever that dream looks like to them, come true and
Mhm.
be available for their families and what's important for them. And I
Yeah.
see the diversity in everyone's idea of what their preschool looks like.
Mhm.
There's some that are, more forest, outdoorsy um, type, which right now that's not good here because it's like super cold and windy. But
Mhm.
um, and you see that there's people who are more religion based and
Mhm.
just and Beth has got a great idea. I'm like, gosh, I wish I could come up with that.
Mhm.
So that's been really great too. It's
Yeah,
just having
absolutely.
all of those different ideas and I kind of pick pieces of each one and think, oh, I can do that and I can incorporate that. And oh, that's a great idea. So that kind of helps me build that value added to my program.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
my
Absolutely.
program's not going to be for everybody, but there
Mhm.
are there are, parents out there who like the concept that, and mine's so unique that even like the food program or the licensing people are like, you're the only one like this. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah,
good,
absolutely. I
that's
haven't met
good.
anyone like that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, even, growing up, we had homeschool groups where it was, but like the parents were still there and it wasn't like all day care. We went like once a week. And so, yeah, this is for homeschoolers and for, parents who need care for them and the private school label of it. It's great. It's awesome. Okay. So here's
Well,
your big last question. What's your future plans with it now that it's taking off? Do you have any plans to, any big grand future plans for where you would like to go? Is this where you want to keep it? What do you think?
well, I've been working on a second location since I
There we
opened the
go.
first location.
Yeah.
My hope is that I'm going to get to retire to Florida at some point or
Okay.
someplace, but
Somewhere warm.
yeah, somewhere, yeah, that's consistent, a little bit warmer than here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been kind of in the works. It is that second location, just because the current where I currently have it at home, which I want to keep the home at home thing. I think that
Mhm.
is important, but I kind of live in a small suburb town, and unless you live out here, you don't necessarily want to drive out here. I do
Right.
have parents that drive, 25 minutes one way every day to drop their kids off, but so I think that second location will do real well when we get
Mhm.
it when it comes that time. Kind of waiting for things to kind of level out
Yeah.
before going that route. But I'm currently, like working on new programs to add. I'm going to start offering uh, some of the enrichment classes independent from the school so that I can tap into those
Mhm.
students who are, going to public school or whatever.
Yep.
Um, so I've tried to make it so that it's affordable for everybody, and I want to keep it that way. So
Mhm.
my efforts in fundraising are going to have to be a little stronger than they have been in the past. So
Well, Joy's apparently got some great fundraising tips that I keep meaning to look into, but I keep hearing about them, and that's my next
sounds
goal.
like it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
need to watch that, and
Yeah.
then something else comes up. But
I know. Me too.
so yeah, the second location is um, definitely on my mind, and then of course launching the online stuff
Mhm.
again.
Yep.
Working on the Mommy and Me program, so that'll be, well, Parent and Me, because I don't want to discourage fathers or grandparents from
Yeah.
participating. So that's one that I'm working on, trying to get enrollment for and get it started. I'm trying to figure out, I've got it scheduled for Saturday mornings right now, and I'm trying to figure out if that's really the best time to have it. But because I have to be careful with the school Monday through Friday and who's
Yeah.
here and stuff. So
Yep. Yep.
trying to figure all that out. So
Well, you
that's where
got
I'm at.
Yeah, you got a lot on your plate, girl. You got a lot on your plate, but it sounds like you're building an amazing, amazing thing. And I wish you all the best of luck in your second location, in your classes, in your retiring to somewhere warm, everything.
Yeah. Somewhere warm would be great right now. Looking
Yeah.
forward to a honeymoon one of these days. So
Yeah, that too. That
yeah.
too. But sounds like you really have built something awesome and congratulations on everything.
Well,
You-
thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And thank you so much for talking to us and telling your story.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, I've learned a whole lot. I've learned a whole lot and I appreciate it.
Oh,
You
you're
have
welcome.
a great evening.
Okay, you too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
If you'd like to have a success story just like that one, I invite you to join our Preschool All Stars. It's my exclusive membership community where you'll get mentorship from me with weekly Q&A lives, support and guidance and friendship from hundreds of women on the exact same journey as you, starting, running and growing their preschools, and my exclusive access to Preschool University, every training and done-for-you file that you'll need for every milestone on your journey to help you start, run, and grow your preschool. We've all been there, and we've got the exact same steps that you need to go through, but we do it all very quickly so that you don't have to waste time or money doing the wrong things at the wrong time. We'd love for you to join our Preschool All Stars membership. Just go to preschoolallstars.com or click the link in the description to immediately jump into Preschool All Stars. Again, go to preschoolallstars.com and we'll see you there.